Yeah, what's going on, lovely people? I'm tired of shit. It was one of them leg days. Leg day is an event for me, especially with this amount of sets and all that good shit. It was interesting. But I tell you what, I've been chilling, man. I've been having so much work to do, which I desperately need to get done. To prepare moving things forward. And but so many people was talking about nationals and different things of that sort. So I'm just gonna tell y'all like this. I mean, everybody can have their opinion. I wasn't there, of course. Y'all know they called the damn police on my ass. But I mean, you can have your opinion. I love the dog that actually won the whole thing from the pictures I seen. Very clean, pretty dog. Just a very nice dog. In my opinion. Now, I mean, when Registry say that you want to be more than one breed registry. This is what happens, This is what's going to happen. You're going to have other breeds win. The whole show has happened several times, so yeah, excuse me, that's no big deal, Dare you silly. but I think one of the biggest problems is the day after, man. And the day after, I've seen people getting sort of nasty, And the truth of the matter is that people are allowed to have their opinions, My opinion is not the law, Nobody, everybody can have their opinions. And one of the things that I see people continuously, we see the message a million times. Oh, just let people have their wins. Let people do this. Let people do that. You know what I mean? The very first thing that we have to do is still have to remember that this is a dog community. It's a community where we are supposed to be here breaking down dogs and finding the best specimens for each and every breed. So, yes, when you have a lot of people, and that's all I heard this morning is the confusion about the high rear situation. A couple friends of mine actually sent me videos, and you could see the high rears, and it made you sort of like, if I'm gonna tell you what has happened to I'm just speaking on the American Bully. But what has happened to the American Bully is that the American Bully has turned into a front breed, a stack-off breed. Everybody wants to take that one shot from the front because that's all we want to show with these dogs. Because as we move the dogs to the side, an ugly true story starts to emerge. And one of the things that, with that ugly true story that we tend to see is, of course, the high rears, the stiff, straight stifles. We see the elongated backs. We see, many issues from the side shot. That's why the side shot is oftentimes not the best shot. And then, for more experienced dog people, even some of these dogs that, these people are making squat and overextending the legs, we can see the unnaturalness of the poses that you put them in. And on camera, you can't do it because, you can actually see the person adjusting the dog. And that's how some of these bad shots, get took, where you see the dog in a horrible position. Now, for those who are new to this, and trying to understand what I'm talking about with the side shots, okay, it is a thing where you can catch a dog in a bad picture. What typically happens with that is when the dog is not at a 90-degree angle. The hocks in the back should be at a 90-degree angle. That's basically straight up and down for those who don't know. Once you see that, that back leg of the back part of the leg straight up and down, then you'll see that curve coming up to the butt or whatever. Excuse me. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not like that. Yeah, the Ravens had a good game. I just seen that where it said Ravens Nation. Ravens had a good game. But now, the bigger issue, I'll tell you, is that we won't let this thing happen naturally. And what I mean by that is, you stack a dog a certain way, and that dog, that's what we're judging it off of. Now we have people who want to teach the dogs to squat. You know, we have people who want to pull the dog's legs all the way, you know, from New York to LA and try to make the top line level. Excuse me. Unfortunately, what happens in that situation is that some of the judges actually get wins off of that, you know. And I agree, the American bully is a mess. And the biggest reason why it's a mess, you know, is because of the attitude. What's going on, Robert? The attitude that we have in our community. Mr. Ramos, what's going on? And that attitude is that we don't have to adhere to real rules. We go with hype and we go with popularity. Hey, Kim. And that's not the way to do things, man. We have to get back to judging. I seen Skip Miller put up some good information, you know, talking about the lack of the judges judging properly, not checking the dogs, not putting hands on the dogs to feel certain things that you need to feel on the dog, not paying attention to the top lines, not paying attention to bad movement, not paying attention to bad posture, not, you know. And as you go through these things, man, this is why you have so many people who are constantly upset. Know a dog, and I'm not taking shots at the American bully who won, but, you know, I don't have any problem because I feel like any of us should be able to say who we thought won. In my opinion, when I saw the final lineup and from the video clips and from the pictures that I saw, the Bear was the best dog in the ring at the end. Now, what's his name? Bowser or whatever his name is. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm terrible with names. But he was very close, you know. He was very, very, very close. You shut up, Kim. You know what I mean? Hey, man, I tell y'all. Now, I knew y'all was going to start because I got my Browns gear on. I'm going to tell you like this. We're going to end this right now before I go back in the dogs. Myles Garrett did deserve his suspension. I support Myles Garrett. Hell, I even ordered me a Myles Garrett jersey. An official one, too. Not none of that bullshit. But this is the thing where I say about the Brown scenario, and this is all I'm going to say about the Brown scenario is, you know, Myles Garrett made a clean hit. You know, that he hit the quarterback, the ball was still in hand. The way they teach you to tackle is you aim more for the chest to sternum area. He did that. He twisted. He pulled the guy down. The guy actually came down on top of him. So the lies about he drove him into the ground, that was a clean hit. What had happened is their quarterback had been destroyed through 4 interceptions. He had took a lot of hits, and he got frustrated. Now, being an old football player, I just think of the process of me putting it in my mind. If I'm Myles Garrett and I come off that corner, I didn't make a dirty play. This was a clean hit. You know what I mean? Literally, I posted it on my other page. The quarterback still had the ball in his hands while he was hitting him. And then he released it on his way down. Now, once we hit the ground and I made a good tackle on you, if you decide to put your hand inside my face mask and you start ripping at my helmet, all that quarterback shit is out the window. You know, now what happened next on that situation, Garrett pulled him up by the face mask, you know, like basically one of them come here bitch moves because you didn't effed up now. And, you know, dude kicked Garrett in the groin, you know. Now, after this goes on, you know, of course, Garrett snatches his helmet off. A lineman's holding Garrett. And during this time, this same quarterback comes running back towards Garrett, strikes Garrett in the groin with his hand, and then continues to go at him. Now, keep in mind, I said he deserves a suspension, but when Garrett was struck in the groin and that quarterback came back at him after hitting him in the groin, you can see the picture, he's still going up towards Garrett's head. You know, Garrett got pissed, and I just being the man, if you hit me in my balls, I'm probably going to swing. And I think Garrett, it was more of a reactionary thing, you know what I mean, where he swung the helmet, you know what I mean? You know, here we go with the no proof, man. Look, David, just keep it real, man. Y'all got all these fucking excuses. This is a grown man. Now, there is obvious proof that he kicked him in the groin. There's obvious proof that he had his hands inside of his face mask and was yanking at his helmet. At what point in time do we stop making excuses for the behavior of this man for running at this monster? Myles Garrett took his suspension. Myles Garrett was a man and said, I shouldn't have swung the helmet. That's what he apologized for. But at some point in time, when it comes down to it is, I don't care if you're a quarterback, a wide receiver, you are a grown man. Not only that, you're a very good-sized grown man. They are quarterbacks, but remember, a lot of these quarterbacks are 225, 230. They are big men. So what are you running at me for? Now, it's not, you say it's not any proof. They did still shots to show that his hand was down in the groin area, but you couldn't see what he was doing with it. So, but at the same time, when it comes down to it is he's a grown man running at another grown man. This is our new generation to where, you know what I mean? You do an aggressive act, but then when somebody serve you, you play victim. Now, what happened? I don't like the helmet thing, like I said, because a serious injury could amount up out of that. But when you start doing these things, and then we heard, you know what I'm saying? Then we heard the bitch shit like, oh, he should press assault charges. Well, I told y'all I had 2 majors in college, pre-law, you know, which was a lot of history with the pre-law, and the med school, you know what I mean, pre-med. And so I'm going to tell you right now, everybody who cried assault, there is no way on God's green earth that you will ever get an assault charge if one man is holding you and another man is running at you trying to commit a violent act towards you. Whatever your response was self-defense. Only in the NFL is it that this quarterback, for whatever reason, is totally protected from eye gouging, pulling face masks, kicking in groins, and running to attack another player, that all of a sudden he becomes victim. That's the only thing I have to say about that. I think it is fair that Garrett will have, even after the appeal, he'll probably still do 4 to 6 games, which is the rest of the season, because it's illegal to, with their agreement, it's illegal to have an indefinite suspension for something that happens on the field. But he deserves a suspension just from, you know, you can't swing a helmet at a guy. But this is not the first time we've seen it. Antonio Smith, it was about 5 years ago, smacked Richie Incognito in the head with his helmet. They was in wide open field. He snatched it off, bop, hit him in the head with the helmet. It's not the first time, but that was a primetime game. So, but you know, I think that this is another thing where people can drive a narrative and change the story around, you know, because I've watched the film over and over again because I wanted to be realistic about it when I talked about it to Browns, you know, to fans in general. Myles Garrett made a clean tackle. That man landed on top of Myles Garrett. It wasn't late. He literally hit him when he had the ball in his hand. This guy decided to be a total asshole diva, which a lot of quarterbacks are because they think they're not allowed to get touched. He snatched the man, you know, you start snatching the man's helmet off, going after his eyes, you know, kick him in the groin. Then you want to run back when somebody else is doing him. You know, if it wasn't in the NFL, I would have said good for you to get busted across the head with a damn helmet. Leave people the hell alone and shit won't happen to you. Now, going into that, you know, it was another topic that was discussed, and it's a real deal topic, and I'm just being realistic with y'all. I won't go into the names and all that shit, but just like Ashton Edwards, yes, I called him out because Ashton Edwards always has something to say. I've never had an issue, you know what I mean, with this guy. I don't even know this guy, but he's always got something to say about me. But once again, like I told y'all, most of these guys who put on show, especially on Debatable, they want no action. When he ran across a certain individual that he was talking crazy to and got asked to step outside, he bitched up and stood right in that building, pretty much looking for security. With Mr. Dave Wilson coming over, please don't hurt anybody in this event. That's the way they roll. So all this extra talk, they'll make memes, they'll talk a lot of shit, but that we know what y'all is. This is many a times that this has happened. So we're not even gonna keep on acting like these guys are anything but what they are. They bitches. You know what I mean? A lot of people in this community is talking dogs. A lot of people in this community is progressing towards trying to make the breed better. And what we see is a diversionary tactic that every time, like today, the day after a show when people are discussing conformation and why they believe a certain dog didn't win, it's not a sin in a dog community to talk about the flaws of other dogs you've seen, to talk about the issues of what you've seen in the ring and why was that picked. Because in our community, this is one of the things that is causing our community the most trouble. And what I mean by that is, why it's causing our community the most trouble is because when other communities look at our community, they wonder why we aren't offended at what we're seeing. When you see a dog that obviously has a high rear or obviously has some other issue, and I'm not talking about yesterday's show specifically, but there were some yesterday, and you see that be the much better dog that's well put together, and you sit there and you stunned and you looking around and you're like, what just happened? This takes away from the integrity of the show ring. Just that simple. We've gotten to a point now that I told y'all this, and it's not to take a shot at Dax, but what Dave Wilson, the ABKC, and a lot of other people in the American Bully community has done has turned the American Bully into a Dax dog. And when I say Dax dog, I'm not meaning Dax blood, but I'm meaning the one thing about Dax is, and I'll admit this, I'll say this, y'all have heard me say this. If you see the picture of Dax from the front, he was impressive. If you just seen that front shot of Dax in the grass, it's like two or three different versions of the same picture, basically. 818 did. But that was the most popular shot of Dax. That's the picture that you seen of Dax. And even though you might not agree, like, okay, that really doesn't look like an American bully, but damn, that's an impressive ass dog. You see the big hump on the neck, you see the big straight legs, chest, and it was impressive. But then we see the video of the dog from the side, the long back, the high rear, and the other issues, you know. And what has happened is this is transformed to our breed now, because you'll see some dogs that are drop dead gorgeous from the front. You look at it and you're like, wow, you know, even the feet are nice, you know, the legs are straight. You're like, this is a beautiful dog, you know, and you start to feel good about the dog. And then when you turn it to the side, everything falls apart. The dog has a longer back. Some of these dogs not only are longer in the back, but their symmetry is not good. And what I mean by the overall symmetry is a lot of these dogs are very, very front heavy. So you see them, then they had a massive chest, a massive bone up front, the neck and everything. But when you get into the rib cage, sternum area, going to where the tuck is at and back, it's not the same. They don't have the same thickness sometimes. Now, sometimes they look fat, or you'll have the elongated body, you know, the high rear, the slip down, you know, the slanted down back because of the high rear. A lot of the times the dogs can't properly stack, because if the dog has a stiff stifle, you can't do the proper angulation, because remember I told you, once that baby is 90 degrees, you see that swoop coming up to towards where the butt is, and that's how the dog is supposed to stack. Well, what you're seeing is people who have their dogs squat down, so that throws off the area back there. You see people who have to try to who's got the real stiff stifles, they just have to overextend their dog. That doesn't look good. It looks like the dog is standing on his damn tippy toes from the back. It's a lot of weird things that go on with the dogs, and this is all things that the dog technically should not win. You know, we seen dogs shitting in the ring. We seen dogs, you know what I mean, do a lot of different things. And this is the perfect time, instead of people giving you a guilt trip saying don't talk about what you've seen and stop hating on everybody. No, this is the perfect time where we should be pointing out the flaws and what we felt like that we should not be, you know what I mean, be seeing. Exactly, Z, exactly. You know, and I'm telling you, I mean, this is dog education time. The biggest shows of the year, the biggest events of the year are the perfect time for a community to get up there and just do their thing. You know, just get up there, do your thing, break the dogs down, and talk about exactly what it is that we need to be doing. It's not hating, you know. Every time you correct something or say something that wasn't correct about, I don't care if it's the ABKC, TBKC, whatever. If you see a dog that's not up to par in there, as a community, we should be able to call that out without repercussion, without any arguments, without any, oh, this person is hating, without any of the childish memes and people trying to, you know what I mean? I see people try to bully people off the computer all the time about having a real dog opinion. It doesn't matter. We're not here to make a dog that just has a front end, you know? I mean, I'll tell you personally, you know, I think the dog should be able to have a cardiovascular system. And I'm not talking about the dog has to, run a marathon. I'm talking about inside the ring, this dog should be breathing normally. This dog is not doing any kind of hard exertion. So I shouldn't see a dog in the ring that seems like he's having a hard time to breathe in the ring. And I'm specifically telling all of my judges to get those dogs out of the ring. If your dog can't just come in the ring and stand and be ready to stack, then what is your dog there for? That's a terrible example of a show dog. If your dog just can't breathe normally while standing in a show ring and he's in the ring, get him out of here. That's a terrible example of the breed. You know, and we have to get to our point to where we're breaking down the whole entire dog. Not that your dog is great because he has a giant front end. He's just big in the front. You know, he's got a big head. He's got a nice neck. But we're going to disclude the other 2/3 of his body. And that's what we've been doing. A lot of these dogs are very, very long in the back for some reason now. A lot of these dogs have horrible top lines and they had those bad rear ends. And it was on full display yesterday from the pictures and stuff of what I seen, that a lot of the good dogs, you know what I mean, or supposedly good dogs, were long, high reared, stiff stifle dogs. You know, a lot of them were weak in the ass. And what I mean, you know, and I want to be, you know, very clear what I'm saying. When I say a lot of the dogs are weak in the ass, is if you got this massive, gigantic Arnold Schwarzenegger front, you should have an Arnold Schwarzenegger ass. You know, you can't have a Miley Cyrus booty with an Arnold Schwarzenegger front. That's like the little dog off of what his name was, Brutus or whatever that little dog was in the cartoons, the big bulldog in the front with the tiny little legs, the one on Tom and Jerry. But y'all know who I'm talking about. But that's not how our dogs are supposed to be built. You know, all of this stuff should be handled like adults, and we should be able to break these dogs down to make the breed better instead of it turning into a big argument. Oh, this person is hating and this and that and the other, and why is this and no. If it's something obviously there with the dog, you just point it out. Like, this has to be better. You know, I've judged Bruno. Okay, Bruno. Yeah, somebody had to tell me, but you're right, Bruno. Yeah, that he would be American Bully Grand Champion, 3 times national champion. But I tell you, you know, we have to get to that point to where we can cut out the nonsense and just properly evaluate the dogs. You know, Skip Miller was telling, I know he was saying it at the show, and he was telling a lot of people, you know, these dogs, no matter what tricks you teach them, you know, when you're stacking them, that don't even matter too much. You know, the stack is for a different purpose to most judges. I want to get a chance to, you know, to feel the dog up, to see how things are, to see how strong that rear end is, to see if it's sitting properly. Even to test to see how, you know, how you got him squatting and all that, how the hips are assembled, the whole thing. You can do it. You can learn a lot by filling up that dog. And then once he gets into movement, everything is going to change. You know, the great dogs look beautiful while they moving. You know, the great dogs, you know, look beautiful while moving. I don't know what was going on with the bear. I said a little bit earlier, I think that the bear was the best dog that I seen. Excuse me, I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but I'm talking about in the American Bullies when it came down to the finals. That's all I seen is the pictures of that. In the ring, I think the bear should have had it. That's just me. You know, I am a judge and all that stuff, and that's the way I see it, is that. And if you asking me, what do I think the bear won off of? I think it was pretty evenly. I mean, both of dogs are very impressive from the front, and I think the other dog was Bowser. And y'all forgive me if I'm messing up some of the names, but you know what I mean. Jay Norris, you touched on it. When the dogs turn to the side, every picture, everything I've seen is that the dog that won was swayed back and a little bit long in the back and just had some things that wasn't that good from the side. And this is just being honest. And the bear didn't have those things. From the side, the bear looked a lot better than that dog did. And this is just being honest, y'all. I don't even know those people, and congratulations to them for their win. I don't know, so it's not having an agenda. I'm being honest with you from what I've seen. You know, that dog to me was the third best dog that I seen in that ring. It's just, you know, and that might even be pushing it. But it was the third best dog because I don't think that you can just win off of the front. And it was 2 dogs that was in there with comparable fronts and better side shots. You know, I didn't get to see anything directly from behind the dogs, but I'm going to tell you from my experience, once you have a dog that's way back, they typically don't move as good, you know. They just typically don't move as good, so I would bet that, you know, he didn't move better than them either. And that, you know, and it is disheartening at times when you get to the biggest level like that and you have good dogs in there and you have an opportunity to pick a dog, and some believe it's politics that got involved, you know, one way or the other. Some believe that, you know, they wanted a certain dog's blood to win. Some people believe that they wanted, you know, that they didn't want the bear to be the first ever 2-time champion, you know, because pretty much he's not one of them. And y'all know what I mean. We're not going to mix any words with that. He's not one of them. So they didn't want the bear to be the first ever 2 times champion, which in my opinion, he should be the first ever 3 times champion, because I believe the year the bus won, he was better than the bus, but it is what it is. The judge has to pick from what he sees, and for whatever reason, maybe he'll do an interview and he'll tell what he see and why he did that, why he picked like that, I mean, and I'm not, Eric, I'm not picking on him, and that's your opinion that whatever respect you lost for the ABKC, I've been lost my respect, so I damn sure ain't gonna hold that against you. But, a lot of these shows seem to be staged. A lot of things seem to be going in a certain type of way that, I think what makes it bad is that, it's just like the obvious winners don't always win, and that's sometimes that's a problem. Who cares if the bear would have dominated for 3-4 years straight? If he was the best dog, he just wins for 3-4 years straight. Ruger had that potential. Mufasa had that potential. If it's one of those dogs that just continuously dominates, we shouldn't be apologetic for that. The best dog keeps winning until somebody gets something better. But these front end dogs, we're throwing away the breed. We're throwing away the breed. Murder Heart, what's going on, brother? But we throwing away the breed in that aspect, man, because it's all about selling, and we're not making complete dogs. People, call me out all the time, and y'all notice I've been a lot more quiet lately because I've really been working to try to catch up on the work I didn't get done. But I don't even think, that's why I say it's 2 different worlds in this American Bully thing, because now in this stanza, I'll speak for myself. I can't, with some of the people who like to talk shit about these certain dogs, we can't ever compare dogs because we are breeding for 2 totally different things. I've already done it. I've made a 100-pound dog with a lot of girth and all that stuff. But the one thing I refuse to do is I will not compromise conformation and health. I don't judge my dog strictly by a front shot. You know what I mean? I judge my dogs in motion. I judge my dogs on their temperament. At no point in time, if you talk to anybody who's ever gotten a dog off of me, you never have to drag my dogs around. Absolutely, Jay. But you never have to. I won't even deal with a dog. If I think a puppy is too shy and too scary acting, I won't deal with that puppy, man. And I've been blessed to not have that happen but one time. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I kept the puppy because the puppy was he was scary. And it didn't make sense. His litter mates was, they were socialized right along with him. But this particular puppy, just the whole time, he was scared to be handled. He would start like, if you touched him for no reason. Like, I worked with him all the way up until 12 weeks, and he would always just be very skittish, run back to his cage, and he had no reason to be. He was in the house. He was getting fed. He was around the kids. They was playing with him. So at that point at 12 weeks, I made the decision to have my vet put a needle in him. And that was that, And a lot of these dogs that I see, some of them needed a needle. And our community haven't reached the point of honesty that we can have a real breed yet, Who is that? Rome asked me earlier, basically, does the American Bully belong in the ring, with high quality American Pit Bull Terriers, Staffies, maybe Dobermans. And at this point in time, I think we belong, but I don't think we can compete. And I'm just being honest with y'all. It is levels to this shit, you know what I mean? And y'all have to think about this as a community. And I've judged a little bit of all of them, excuse me. Allergies starting to catch me. But like when you judge, say if you're judging the American Pit Bull Terrier, it's very refined. It's a refined dog. It's not like in my thought process, I've never judged the Staffies. I've never judged the American Pit Bull Terriers and worried about things such as horrible top lines, high rears. They just typically don't have this in their show dogs. You know what I mean? I've never worried about strong conformational issues with a Doberman, and I have been fortunate enough to now finally judge a Doberman show, and it was a fun show, but it was fun, But looking at my own yard and excuse me, some of the yards that I've seen, you don't have these issues with Dobermans. You don't have these issues with Rottweilers, and that's why I say that our breed, hey, you better quit messing with my Browns. Was that Latrissa? You better quit messing with my Browns, man. I'm always have my Browns gear on, but their breeds are so advanced compared to where we're at, and the simple fact that every single day, I'm still laughing at Miss Weaver over here messing with me, but every single day that we continue to argue about things that we shouldn't be arguing about. No one in this community, if they were serious about dogs, should be arguing if the dog should be healthy. You shouldn't be arguing about if you see a dog with a high rear. This is something that we as a community have to become intelligent enough and have enough morals that if we see certain issues, we like, hey, that's a high rear. What's up with that? How did the high rear dog beat all the other dogs? How did the sway back dog beat all the other dogs? How did the bad feet dog? We have to get to that point. Until we get to that point, the American bully community is never going to get any better. We got excuses for everything, but we're not producing good dogs. It's just that simple. If we got to a point that where we were very, very diplomatic about breaking these dogs down and getting to a level of, being on top of our game, we would have a shot. But right now, people just don't take it serious enough, man. It's just crazy, man. Yeah, hey Rome, that's exactly what I was getting at too, brother. It's just that we're not there yet, and there's nothing wrong with not being there yet because we're a young breed, but we have to. My man Chopper, what's going on? We have to start climbing towards that level, We have to we have to do it a lot. I mean that's what's that, fly? That's what I was getting at. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, let me backtrack in case somebody didn't understand that. I'm not saying that the American Pit Bull Terrier or the Rottweiler or any of these other breeds don't have flaws. As you remember in the context that I was saying it, I said inside the show ring, I don't ever see having to judge those and worry about those issues in agreement with you. And those breeds, people just don't make them show dogs for the most part. They're straight pet quality. That's the biggest difference between those breeds and what we do. Every breed, hell, believe it or not, horses get kinked tails, but every damn animal on the face of the earth that people breeds has an issue that can come about. But the good breeders and the good communities go to the very, very top to make sure that something is better instead of worse. And our community will put anything in the ring that we can glorify. You know what I mean? Anything in the ring that we can glorify. And it's become so brazen with, certain people is that, basically they just gonna tell you to go F yourself, because I'm such and such and this is the way it's supposed to be. When you do question, well, why is your dog's tail like that? Or why is your dog's feet like that? And these are very, very good questions for our breed. So, it's really pathetic, but we have to step our game up to, even like Rome said, to be able to catch up and to compete with any of those dogs that's in that ring. It's just that simple. We have to have open discussions and be able to break down the dogs properly, or we're never going to get there. These constant arguments and debates, that's why I stopped them, because the shit is stupid. It's not productive, Yesterday, Mr. Ashley, oh man, you know what? The money is what been killed the breed, because they'll do anything. They'll do anything. They don't put the dog first. They don't take pride in the dog living a long life or being a good family member and all that stuff, because more than anything, we have to remember, even the show dogs are family members, and they should be in somebody's home for 10 years, 12 years, some of them 13, 14 years, whatever. That's their first purpose, to live a long, healthy life. And a long, healthy life starts with good conformation, but we don't go that way, We don't go that way, and we're going to continue to suffer as a community if we don't get our shit together. Man. It's a frustrating community, y'all. But we had to get better. Like today is after the biggest show of the year in this breed, and all we have is people going back and forth defending nonsense. Where it should be a day where we can break down dogs and start getting to the bottom of how do we make it better for next time around. What should we expect? People have gotten so brazen with this marketing stuff that, it's all about what celebrities we can post up pictures with, what this, what that, and you look at the dogs and the dogs continue to get, worse and worse. Were there quality dogs that I seen on video yesterday? Absolutely. There was some beautiful dogs on there. And there were some not so beautiful dogs. And, the not so beautiful part is what's going to stand out. Because the not so beautiful part, kills the educational part, Mr. Garrett, that's what we've been saying, is that we have to get to the point where we have that educational part. But these people don't want to hear the education. These people don't want to hear no education, man. A lot of what Rome Barnes is saying, these people don't want to hear it. You always consider the hater when you tell them about their dog or what flaw they got. And the sad part is, like I touched on earlier, just because I'm having a kick out of it, but you got those characters who play tough, who talk all crazy on the computer just to change the narrative, which is healthy dogs, good conformation dogs, what's best for the breed. And, and they ain't going to do nothing but call the police. They don't want no smoke, but that's their diversion tactics. They make memes to talk shit about people. They go on there and they make threats and they tag all their friends and this and that, but they don't want to talk about dogs. Because this is the most simplistic part of the art that we can talk about. And Rome Barnes and Mr. Garrett, y'all know that too. The most simplistic thing we can do is break down dogs. This is the part that's not hard because the dog is what it is. It's that simple. We're going to keep on pushing it. I'm not into politics. I think politics is bullshit. As Robert Slack asked me that. I'm not really into politics. I think politics is bullshit. I'm into more, the betterment. And that, and that's government politics or any kind. Because I think when you politicking, you start lying and you start BSing, That's why I don't even get into the political parties of this country, because honestly I think all politicians are liars and they making avenues to create themselves some money at the expense of the citizens, Now, if we talk about it, I guess we are off topic, but I'll address that strongly, and I give you, the best examples. This country is killed by some of the most simplistic things that we could change, but our government doesn't. We make up diversionary tactics like the wall and this and that and the other, when the truth of the matter is the people get screwed. This is a capitalist country. This country is totally designed to keep money in the hands of certain people and keep it out of the hands of other people. It don't matter what color you are, it don't matter what gender you are, there is an elite and there is the rest of us. And that's the way this country works. They will tell you, they do their smart guy diversionary tactics talking about healthcare this, healthcare that. Well, the truth of the matter is that if they actually cared about healthcare, they would have put sanctions on all these companies that's overcharging everybody for medications and polluting the whole country with all these opioids. But they don't do strong sanctions against those people. They allow them to make billions of dollars, and those same companies that are making billions of dollars go out and they pay, they have the lobbyists pay these same politicians that we vote for to make sure that there are no sanctions when it's time to vote. It's the most crooked system ever, and that's why you see all these politicians with $2,500, $5,000 suits and getting escorted around in black Lincolns, because they're supposed to be public servants, but they live like kings in most cases. It's a situation where our country will never get better because it's polluted with a sickness of greed from the inside and with the people who control it. And oftentimes when we question it, they slap us in the face with the words of patriotism. But the truth of the matter is that a true patriot questions the government and stands by the people that are part of its that's a part of its nation. But what they do is they make you feel bad about questioning the bullshit with the government, and they've brainwashed our people to a certain level that people in this country actually believe that you're not a patriot when you question the way that things are done in this country. But that's the very foundation of it. They've even tricked our military to the point where our military will blast and hate people who don't go along with everything that the government says. But the military, you fight for the freedoms, and along with those freedoms is our ability to speak on the things that are wrong in this country. But now if I do that, I'm anti-military, I'm anti-government. See, it's all a game. That's why politics don't mean nothing to me. They're all the best paid liars in the world. You know? They're all the best paid liars. Shauna, they got my girl Shauna blocked, so I'm saying hi to my girl Shauna. But this is what they have. This is a system that's meant to oppress. It's not just meant to oppress black people. It's meant to oppress all people who don't have means. Because trust and believe, the greedy son of a bitches that run this country, they don't care who they got to share their money with. They don't want to share it. They don't want to give poor white people nothing. They damn sure don't want to give poor black people nothing. They don't want to get a Latino nothing. If you poor, they don't want you to have it. They want to make sure that they keep it. They want to make sure that they keep that money flowing. This is the way that our country works. So whether it's going to be a Democrat or it's going to be a Republican, all you're going to get is the next paid liar to try to ease your feelings about getting fucked. It ain't nothing but it, this is the way the system works. I promise you. It's so much simplistic. They ain't never got money for our kids to have a proper education, but they got money to donate to other countries who are in need. But really, that ain't donations. That's investments. They go over to them countries, and every country that they give money to, they taking something back from them, and we just don't get it. Our kids can't even get proper education, but we can go and drop, this country needs 10 billion, we're going to give them 10 billion. How the fuck you going to give somebody 10 billion and our kids got terrible schools? It's a game, It's a game. It's a reason why we got vaults and vaults full of files that the country ain't never allowed to see, because this country been lying to its citizens since its inception. It's a bunch of deception for the elite to keep on getting paid and live their great lives while the rest of us work our ass off and basically, till we die and pay all of their taxes for them to do their crooked shit. And you just working to make somebody else's dream happen. That's basically what government is. Our government don't care about us. It's all, and that's the truth. If you get a hot topic, and I don't want to get into the debates about, some of these topics, you know what I mean? But, when it comes, okay, I'm gonna get right back to it, Mr. Ashley. But I tell you, when you get into some of these topics about this country, all they do is try to shame you for opening up your mouth. It's no way that we one of the most powerful countries in the world, and you telling us that our people can't get proper health care, but at the same time, the pharmaceutical companies is allowed to charge us 1,000 and 1,500% of what the medications actually cost, when you got other countries who just won't allow it, so the medications are way cheaper than there. But this is the kicker about medications. Now, they make laws for us to not be able to order our medications cheaper from other countries, where those other countries did what they were supposed to do to, to make this shit happen properly. But guess what? They don't make laws to stop them from selling it high to us. That tells you what side they on, man. This shit's a game. Y'all can believe it if you want. I mean, y'all can believe what y'all want. Y'all can believe that little orange guy up there in the office right now and all the lies he got to tell. You know what I mean? Y'all can believe the next one that they put in there. But at the end of the day, it's all a game. They complaining about this, that, and the other. Walmart still bringing in tons of stuff from overseas, low taxes to no taxes, draining our economy down to the bottom line, running all the other companies out of business. People can't get jobs half the time because these folks then ran them out of business. And those inflated numbers of talking about jobs are ridiculous too, because the jobs that they put out there is all minimum wage, and the cost of living is tripling, so you can't even make a living. It's a game. But that's why I don't do politics. As far as the dogs with the standards, The standard is the blueprint. The standard is the rules. The standard is the easiest thing that we should be able to follow. And for some reason we can't. You know, the standard paints the pictures of everything that the dog should be, and we can't follow it. And the reason why we can't follow it is something that Robert Ashley had touched on earlier. But this breed is about money. It's not about the perfection of the breed. And until we learn to perfect our breed and to actually care about our breed and take the same pride in our breed that the American Pit Bull Terrier people do, or that the Rottweiler, Doberman, Boxer, you know, whatever community takes great pride in the product that you see there, then it's just like, man, you know. Well, you know, one of the things is that Mr. Ashley, is that this is the way it's supposed to go, is that if your dog doesn't qualify, it's not able to win. So that's the ultimate deterrence, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. When they come to that ring, it's supposed to be the ultimate deterrent for a show. Is to, okay, I put an ugly dog in the ring, I don't have a chance to win. The example is supposed to be made in the ring. And one of the reasons why they don't make you qualify for paperwork is very, 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 very tedious. You know, it's something now that our office with the TBKC is actually set to open in March. Hopefully late February, but I'm just saying March. And that'll take a lot of stress off of me and everybody else. But one of the things, as we looked into that, it would command so many hours to take pictures, you know, to get pictures and to get videos. Because now we know people so good with pictures that pictures almost tell you just as good of a lie as words do. So to get, you know, to get videos and different things and to look through all these things just to register one dog, you know, you would most times be able to register about 8 dogs, you know, 8 to 10 dogs in the same amount of time as it took to do that one dog. So what registries throughout the years have always sort of done is if they catch something that's very, very, very out of line, it's a disqualification. You know, if somebody reports it, if somebody posts a picture, whose dog is that? Let's report it in. Let's pull that dog's papers. It obviously don't fit. It's happened a couple of times with the American Bully, actually. What's his name? Bullseye was one of the dogs that it happened to. But the problem is we don't follow that. You know, and worse in the American Bully is that we have shamed the cleaner dogs like the XLs and the classics. You know, you had these idiots that try to be shameful. Oh, that's a reindeer, or that's this, or they call us this names. Oh, those don't sell for this much, that don't sell for that much. So instead of the registry holding strong and saying this is what the dog is, I'm not trying to hear the nonsense, we've almost turned into a culture as to where when you've got a very nice, big, clean, beautiful dog, that it's almost like people want you to be ashamed that your dog is clean and that your dog can move well and that you know, it's strange. They've totally changed the culture for what they sell. You know, they've even been so brazen as they make, I don't know, a lot of y'all seen those little memes and little shit they put up where they'll put up a picture of their ugly ass deformed dogs. Oh, this is a $10,000 puppy. Then they'll put the picture of a very nice American Pit Bull Terrier or something like that and be like, oh, this is a $400 dog. And this is like a campaign. It's like a psychological, really, campaign to make us believe that the quality dogs in our community aren't quality because they're good enough to gyp somebody and con somebody into buying a lesser quality dog. This is really what it has happened. You know, so, you know, to answer the initial question, there's nothing that you have to do to get your paperwork, but there should be, and I know with us it will be a lot of DQs handed out for certain dogs. You know, once we see that the dog is not what it's supposed to be or not of breeding quality, we don't have a problem snatching paperwork. You know, and those who've been to some of our shows have seen that we don't have a problem asking people to lead a ring. And I think that this is the way you get your breed better. The UKC has always done it that way. The UKC actually banned, you know, Ed Shepherd and Dax. You know, they, excuse me, they banned quite a few dogs. You know, the UKC has been very strong, and AKC also has been very strong at trying to protect their breeds and banning certain dogs. And that's what we have to do. You know, yeah, we might not have the resources to go check every dog, but when we start seeing problems and we see things that are brazen, you know, and I don't care who gets mad on here, but when we first saw Dax and We saw what it was. We should have banned Dax. We could have saved our breed a lot of problems. We should have stuck with the ban on Miyagi. You know what I mean? We could have saved the breed a lot of problems. You know, because you saw that there was some problems there, bullseye included. You should have stuck to these things and weeded those bloods out. Now I know today some people have nice Dax blood, and that's okay. But you know, don't take it personal, because we know who we're talking about. It's a lot of Dax dogs out there that are not good, you know, amongst other dogs. But because we didn't never ban these certain breeds, this is our problem. No one cares about the standard. That's it. If we cared about the standard, we would breed to it. Right now, you're seeing dogs that totally don't look like the standard winning titles, you know, and it's dictated by what's popular more so than anything. You know, it's the only reason why you got a guy like Bashar still hanging around. And I'm just being realistic right now. This is, you know, this tells you, this will, in a nutshell, sum up the whole American bully community. You have an individual who's been caught on several occasions hanging papers on litters. You have an individual who's had many of litters that come in and, you know, where the bitches are 6, 7, 8 months old at the time of breeding, and the ABKC registered them anyway. John Easterly pointed out that, you know, a couple dogs that he was claiming from one litter would have been born 3 months behind with the same mother. That's impossible. So that was obviously a paper hung litter, but the ABKC registered it. Now you have a situation where the man who spent all that money to buy, what's his name, Magoo, has now went out of his way and proved that a lot of Magoo's offspring are not Magoo's with proper DNA testing. Who is at nationals? Who's special guy at nationals? Who's all over the place? This is the problem. You know, I was there in person. The same guy, Bashar, you know, sent a certain individual some semen off of a dog named Mango. You know, when a dude checked him about it or whatever, you know, I guess they got the situation straight. He said he had some frozen. He claimed it was a mistake. But when the guy double checked with the vet told him, no, it's not a mistake. And currently he's not allowed to go back to that veterinarian for some of his stunts. But the ABKC supports him and they pushes him. This is all you need to know. When an individual who does the things that he's done, oh, let's not forget about his guy, James Kauka, who came out. James showed y'all that it was French bulldogs and some English bulldogs, some other shit that was mixed into the muscle tone dynasty. James showed y'all proof of this. The DNA is not matching up on none of the dogs. James showed y'all proof of this, and we all very well know that the dogs was juicing, you know. And I ain't talking about the one in the blender. So with all of that going on, you still have a registry that supports this person wholeheartedly and goes, you know, a million miles a day for him, puts him on all this stuff. He's the guy. This is why the community is what it is. This is not, oh, I'm gonna make a personal attack about Bashar. This is what our community is, man. You know, we could talk about, you know, a lot of what Khan's behavior is with dogs. We could talk about, you know, the look of some of these dogs whose feet are crossing each other, dogs who, you know, we could go into this, but we've already gone into it. But this is what they're pushing. They're not pushing clean conformation dogs. They're not pushing healthy dogs. There's some beautiful, healthy dogs that, you know what I mean? Shit, I seen Heather on here. Heather has a beautiful dog. Ron Barnes has a beautiful dog. There's people on here who have good conformation dogs that, hey, it might not have the bulldog look that y'all want, but these are dogs that could represent our breed in the proper fashion. They missed the boat. You know what I mean? I would have much rather seen the Bear as a 3 times national champion, fine specimen, great representative for the breed, than for them to keep on doing the stuff that they've done and not judge it correctly and not judge it straight to enforce the things that need to be enforced. This is why our breed is a joke, man. Because our breed is perceived, and it's not just a perception, but it's the truth. If you can get a good enough salesman to convince people that certain dogs are worth enough money, that is what our registries are going to push. It's that simple, you know, especially on the biggest stage. That's what this is what it is. Last year, and this is my opinion on all this shit, last year the Bear was a makeup call. After the whole stunt the year before where Robert Lee brought his dog out of retirement and the dog obviously wasn't in his best show condition as he had been previously. It was obvious he wasn't on his best that day and he shouldn't have won. It could have been a choice of two dogs. I think it's the same two dogs. And they chose the lesser of the three dogs. In my opinion, that showed the bear should have took it. Once again, we have a similar situation yesterday to where, you have a bunch of quality dogs in there, but when you turn them to the side, we see some obvious issues. And I think a lot of it had to do with, under no circumstances was the bear going to be allowed to win that show, because they didn't want him to be the first ever two-time ABKC champion at Nationals. They didn't want that. He's not in the circle. If the bear had been owned by Bashar or one of those people that they, liking in their circle, I think it was a very good chance that the bear would be a three-time champion right now. Excuse me, but he's not in the right circle. He don't know the right people, and that's the politics of it. If he knew the right people, he would win. Y'all can't tell me it once. Y'all can argue and debate with me, but how the hell was Mr. Beans winning? Mr. Beans is definitely no conformation freak. And the dog is a damn grand champion. He was winning because his owner was Bashar, somebody that's in the know. You know what I mean? Somebody who's a part of the crew. This dog is going to win. You know what I mean? The same individual who was buying show wins and approaching people about show wins. I know y'all don't want to hear it. But sometimes the truth is the truth, and we have to live with it. It is what it is. The American bully breed has been bought. It's that simple. We got legendary boxers like Roy Jones. Bashar somehow then got his hooks into Roy Jones now. We got football players, and we got rappers, and you got everything but dogs. This shit is a circus. Anything that's deemed to be popular, this is what the narrative is going to be pushed. It's not going to be a narrative of great dogs. And that's the sad part, that after all these years, we are still not pushing a great dog to our standard. Y'all know who, in my opinion, recently has been the best versions of that, and that is the bear, and that's the bear and Mufasa. But the reason why the bear and Mufasa is not pushed is because the bear and Mufasa, not to downgrade them, because I love Mufasa, and I just recently used him, but they aren't the type of dog that the ABKC favorites have been able to sell for $10,000 and $15,000 a puppy. That's why they're not pushed towards the mainstream. They were so good that they couldn't be denied, but when it came down to it, you've seen them both be screwed at times where it was obvious that they were the best dog around. They've not been pushed. They've not been promoted. No, they don't push or promote them dogs, because that's not the dog that's going to get you $10,000. They pushed and promoted Mr. Beans not because he was a great dog. The dog at times barely could walk, and he definitely had a sway back, high rear, amongst other issues. He's like a little toad at times. But the one thing about Mr. Beans is that he had a great promotion team behind him, and money was coming his way. You know what I mean? It's no different than Rocco. No matter what that little clown's saying, his little crew, and I'm so glad that his main assassin got bitched out yesterday. But the reason why Rocco is pushed is not because he's a great conformation dog, and even his head structure and his look in the face doesn't fit our standard. Rocco makes money. That's why they're pushing Rocco. Now when it comes to that, Rocco makes money. He makes dollars. Khan lives well off of Rocco. The ABKC pushes Rocco and Rocco's offspring because that makes money. If y'all think I'm lying, right? I got a guy. I got a technician. He'll find it for me. I had an interview with Dave Wilson on D-Line Radio years ago. And out of his own mouth, this was out of the bully god's mouth, He said that the reason those dogs have a place, he said, I understand that there's two type and we need to clean it all up. But, and y'all remember I told y'all this, because I'm going to have a guy find the clip, and it'll all make sense years later. He said, at that time we was talking about Magoo, but he said those dogs are making us popular worldwide and bringing in a certain type of clientele that the other dogs don't. He said those dogs are making us popular worldwide. He admitted that the dogs weren't exactly American Bully and conformationally what they needed to be. But he said that those dogs are making us popular worldwide and expanding the ABKC worldwide, and they're bringing in a type of clientele that the other dogs don't. Now, I don't know any better way or any stronger way that a person can put it. That's one time Dave didn't lie. He told us the agenda when I did that. Let me see. That show was probably about 4 years ago. Me and Dave was still all right 4 years ago. That's when he came on the show. That's when there was the talks that I might, be running some shit at the ABKC, his talks. We never made it happen. But that was one of the reasons why I couldn't go to the ABKC. I wasn't going to sacrifice, my breed for greed. I wasn't going to be rubbing shoulders with people that I knew didn't give a fuck about our breed. So it was what it was. But I tell you, he told y'all years ago, the reason why these dogs was around is because they was money makers. You know what I mean? So if y'all expect that on the biggest stages, where you got athletes and everybody else, and they didn't pay these guys, trust and believe, these athletes don't pay for dogs. They give them the dogs and they use their name to promote. Trust me, I was behind the scenes. I know what they do. And, we got all of this riding on everything. You think that they're going to take and reverse course? A lot of us, and I say us because I cried about it over the years. I don't even complain about it no more, man. I don't even have the time. I done tried to get my health back together, get my life back together in general. I ain't got time to argue about it. But the reason, but it was said years ago, we look at it in whatever way we want to look at it. But when it boiled down to it, the ABKC is that man's business. He's doing business with these people, man. It is what it is. I know we look at it, I look at it that way, like the American Bully is my breed. I put in my work too and all that. But the truth of the matter is yeah, we can claim the American Bully as our breed, but when it comes down to, you know what I mean? But man, that would have been terrible if they'd let Roy's dog win. But but when it boils down to it is that the man told you that, you know what I mean, those dogs is around for a reason, and he taking care of them. He taking care of his family with them dogs. The ABKC is getting rich with them dogs. There's been a lot of shows around the world. They done did a lot of things. If you look at the ABKC, it doesn't have a lot of the true American Bully type dogs that, made the ABKC. Most of those people stopped going to the shows. But what he has right now is it is what it is. It's his business, We can say the American Bully is our breed, but the ABKC is Dave's business, and he told y'all what he wanted. You know what I mean? He showed you what he wanted. He went out and he got Demon Boy off Bashar with all hoopla about that after he talked shit about Dax and said Dax what, he went out and got Demon Boy. He started pushing Demon Boy at 10,000 a stud, and I'm pushing this dog, and I'm putting, he changed course, and it's his business. Although we always look at this thing as, he said that. Thought he's gonna take the show, but we always look at it as it's our thing. It really ain't. The ABKC is Dave's thing. It's Dave's thing. You know what I mean? And I'm not being an asshole about this. I'm being realistic with y'all. You look at his Elite Edge. You know what I mean? He don't have one member from the original Elite Edge, what was made, I think, outside of Sean Jackson, who's a glutton for punishment. Let the man steal all his dogs and put his name on it. But whatever. But everybody walked away. He rearranged it. This is his thing now, So I'm just telling y'all, it's not really an argument. We can break down the flaws. We can break down the issues. We can break down whatever y'all want to break down. But I'm too tired. I'm too sick. I'm too whatever to even go through that shit. The thing I'll tell you is this. If you want to make a better dog, make a better dog. Do what you got to do inside your yard. You know what I mean? Continue your pursuit of making a great dog. Continue your pursuit of making a better American bully. Continue your pursuit to follow the standard and bring this breed to a point that we can compete worldwide. Because our worries about what other people is doing inside this breed are not going to change this breed. People are not going to stop chasing the $10,000 studs. People are not going to stop chasing, $40,000 puppies and let me see what I can. They're not going to stop that shit. Registries and certain registries are not going to stop trying to, excuse me, my phone going to die in a minute, but certain registries are not going to stop trying to get that dollar off of, exotics and anything else that's around our community, changing the way the breed look to, this dog can win because it's hot. They're not going to change it, man. They eating. I'm just being realistic. I'm not even I know it sounds like I'm taking a shot, but I'm being real, man. I mean, you flip the script and you tell me, if you was in Dave Wilson's shoes, how many of y'all would really just flip the script for the breed? I'm glutton for punishment. I fuck around, go broke, be sick, everything else, and I'm arguing with these son of a bitches about dogs. I'm just stupid. And I'm going to keep on being stupid because I love my breed. But at the end of the day, this man flies around the world, makes damn good money with this registry, He lives the life. He can buy the shit he want. He can do whatever he wants. Send his kids to school, all off of the money that he making there and do his thing. Why would he change because we complaining? He got people who love what he doing. They supporting him and they going that way. So instead of us complaining and trying to change what they want to do, if you go, you supporting it. So if you go and you already know what's going on over there, you just a glutton for punishment. Some people go just to walk around the show and enjoy themselves or whatever, and that's the way I got to be in the last years that I was over there. But outside of that, what else you going for? You already see what type of dogs win. You already see who's not going to win. You already see the certain bloods that seem to be getting more and more credit. Nowadays, you see the certain people who somehow they dogs always connected to a win, and you see all the things, man. You see all the things. This man ain't changing. This man getting paid. This man driving his Benzo, living good, flying to Beijing. He in London one week, he in Spain the next week. He living a good life, taking good care of his kids and the whole nine. Those people support him. All we can do as far as for what the breed is, if we say we the opposite, we just got to breed for the breed. We got to breed to make better dogs. We can't focus on the awards. What y'all want right now is something that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like a kid who, had their dad ignore him their whole life. And you waiting for dad to, to tell you that he love you. But I'm sorry to tell you, dad don't love you. You know what I mean? The ABKC and all that other shit, they've told us as a community what dogs that they like. They've used words like evolution. They've allowed kink tails. They've allowed high rears. They've allowed long backs. They've allowed these things. So if you are a true purist of this sport and you say, none of this shit should be allowed, I agree with you. But I'm telling you, don't go there expecting anything different, man. Just being real with you. I'm not telling y'all don't go to any of these shows. I'm just telling y'all, I'm being as real and sincere as I can be with y'all, man. A man making, God knows how much money off this shit. Taking care of his family. Got people putting in money. Putting money in his pocket off of those type of dogs now and everything. Y'all think that man gonna stop because we complain, but we was still hitting up shows and he's still making money off of us and our paperwork too? Come on, man. You being unrealistic. I'm not trying to insult my old friend by it, but it's just the truth. You put a dog in the ring that had a kink tail and high rear and shit and said that was a national champion because it was popular. It's not. They said that Houston show is going to be a January show. Yeah. Everything, man. We're in good shape. Trust me, we're in good shape. Even found a location for the office, but I've been wearing myself out and draining all my funds and dealing with these dumbass computer people. But not my computer people. I'm talking about some of these banks. But it is what it is. But, you know, I'm just telling y'all to be realistic, man. Keep breaking the dogs down. Learn to ignore these people. You know, hell, I think they made a thing with me riding the back of the dog that won the championship. You know, they already making fun of the dog that won the championship and trying to put me in this shit. Yes, I think the dog is nice. And the dog was definitely probably the best conformation dog in the house. But, you know, they got to go ahead and slander that dog too, you know, because they don't want to look at the fact that they dogs don't have that kind of conformation. And this is a conformation show. But, you know, I babbled on long enough, man. One thing I'm telling y'all, man, is if we about the dogs, let's be about the dogs. Let's not depend on, you know what I mean, acceptance from the ABKC. The ABKC has made their stance on what they want to do, you know. I'm just being real with y'all. I ain't hating on them. Go out and enjoy the show, but just don't have those crazy, you know what I mean, expectations, man. That's the truth. Oh, man, Jersey, we lighting it up, baby. We lighting it up in Jersey. But, you know, don't have them great expectations, man. You know. If you want a grand champion, you know, it's other places you can show at. The BRC, TBKC, BBCR, you know. It's other places that you can show at. But, you know what I mean? But I'm telling you, most of, you know, even if you go to this realm, look at the grand champions that's there. And you tell me, do your dog fit in with those grand champions? Because a lot of people, you know, end up doing 7, 8 shows and finding out it ain't that easy to get a grand championship over there no more. Excuse me, without a certain type of dog, and they give up. You know, it's turned into a front end dog. You got to have a very, very front heavy dog, and the back end just typically seems like it doesn't matter much unless you got a very exceptional dog. So if you want, you know, I mean, if I was y'all, I would seriously give, you know, other registries a chance, you know. If you're frustrated with it. If you like what's going on in the ABKC, fine, stay there and enjoy yourself. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't like what's been going on, it's not going to get any better. That's the only thing I can tell y'all about all the complaints this morning and everything like that. If you don't like what's been going on, it's not going to get any better. You know, if you don't like your house, you got to move somewhere else because it's not going to get any better. This man is getting rich off of this community. It's just that simple. Yeah, I don't expect. The reason that it went that way is because somebody wanted money. Now they getting money. You think they're going to change? Nah, it's not going to change, man. But, hey, man, let me go take my medicine, man, because I'm already feeling wore down like a son of a bitch. But, hey, y'all have a beautiful Sunday, man. Remember, holiday time is the worst time of the year for people with depression. Trust me, I know. And, you know, you call your family members, check on them, man. You never know, just hearing your voice and letting them know, you know, somebody know that you love them. You never know what that do for their spirits. Might be a total turnaround, literally. You know, a lot of people, you know, stay in pain and silence. They won't tell you they're going through something, man. So y'all reach out to your loved ones and let them know, hey, you got somebody. If you think you ain't got nobody, I'm here. You'd be surprised. You could change a life with a phone call. It might be your grandma. Who knows? Some of us that got older, we got adult kids. Call your kids and let them know, you know, your mama still love you, your daddy still love you, you know. Because it's crazy how this world works, but we get so involved in everything else and we forget the things that matter to us the most, you know. Sometimes we go forever, you know what I mean? I'm just telling you the truth. I usually call my oldest son, you know, we talk almost every day. And I hadn't talked to him in like 4 days, and the days that went by, I felt horrible, man. I had to call. I know my son was like, what the hell is wrong with him? But I had to call him. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. But sometimes you just always let your people know you love them, man. We focus on so much other bullshit, but, you know, our kids go through it, you know, our parents go through it, our siblings go through it, you know, even our spouses, you know. It costs you nothing to be kind. I'm being real about that. It costs you nothing to be kind to people, let people know you love them and care about them, you know. It don't cost you nothing. So do that, man, and we gonna get together. I'm gonna get with my man Nate Dogg, and we gonna figure out about this radio show and see what we can get back going, man. We looking good, y'all. We looking good. Office looking good. Florida show's looking good. Jersey, we all the way in effect. They actually called me back to make sure about the Jersey shows. Houston, we're going to look at January, man, and we're going to kick the year off right. I just don't want to rush anything. I could have had it done sooner, but it would have been rushing with my situation, so I just let that go. But hey, man, God bless all y'all, man. I'll catch y'all on the next go around. Much love. Peace.